Welcome back to Workers and Resources. I think I have kind of decided that we are probably going to put a cut into this series very soon, because I would like to start with a mega city run, or like something larger. And I don't want to spend too much time in this run anymore. I think we're going to put a limit on like loyalty, probably, like if we get to 60 loyalty, but even that, like, this might be the last stream. Like, I think we might do something else after this stream than this run. Still not fully confident in like setting up an economy with horses, I guess, but I will put up the starting date of the New Republic up to a vote, I guess. So we will do that. It's probably going to be like any date between 1850 to 1900 or something like that. Getting bored? No, I just don't want to like start building like cities and then getting bored with it. I want to like start like a mega city run. I want to build something big, but not on this map. I want like... I don't want this to turn into a mega city run. Like, I could extend the town a lot more. Hello Mega Monkey, hello Tristan. But I am still interested in the loyalty stuff, because it seems to have like really good rippling effect throughout the society. It seems to be a really, really good thing. Higher education is still going up. Basic education at some point can go down, like that's absolutely fine. But yeah, higher education should go up as high as possible. Then everyone we get from the prison at some point is going to be higher educated, pretty much. But yeah, not getting bored, just... yeah. If we do a mega... well, when we do the mega city run, I think I'll start it right in the center. Like, I'm not going to start it like at the edge, like somewhere here, and then build inwards towards the town center. I think I'm going to start with like a really tiny town center in the middle, and then make that work somehow with horses. And then at the border I would have like a waste incinerators or whatever to support it, and then try to grow it out. I think like... so it would like start growing out in circles around the city somewhere. And we would like design like different districts for it, I guess. I think that could be the way to handle things. We will still see if we can get more stabilized with cash if we do the food production. We're still running the whole loyalty thing. Productivity is looking good. Because I'm wondering, like, we can get people with 100% loyalty through this, but is it enough to like keep pushing the average up, or are there like factors that are going to disrupt us? Starting to see a disruption right now, a small one, from the people without their own flats, which are the people with less than 50% loyalty. Best Lady takes anyone with 75 to 100 loyalty, and Prosco anyone with 50 to 75. Which should naturally bring up the loyalty, of course, because there's not that many flats available in Prosco. So Best Lady should take the overwhelming amount of population. If there is enough people being generated, of course. But I don't know. I did change the setting last time, and so far it seems like the houses are still being filled. There's even like some students here with enough loyalty to keep filling houses in Best Lady still. And if that just keeps going, then Prosco is also going to be set to 75 to 100 loyalty only. And we just kick out everyone who has too low loyalty, if the population growth can handle it. So will that raise average loyalty? I think so. So higher education should be allowed in any building, really. And then maybe we have a couple buildings with like basic and no education, I guess. But I don't know. But yeah, I think that's how we're gonna do it. I mean, the Mega City run is gonna take forever. It's gonna be a really long run, I think. If our first Mega City is gonna be anything to go by, I think I'll start it without mods though. So it's gonna be a very, very long time with horses. Depending on what people vote. But at least the 1900s start again, I think. So at least 13 years, 12 years. Which we'll have to make sure we get to the center somehow. But we can start earlier if people vote for it. I'll probably do the vote. Probably during this stream, I think, when we start. I'd encourage a without mod start. Yeah, I think so too. I was thinking of taking like a train, at least like a rail construction vehicle. Otherwise we're going to spend a long time without trains. I don't really like having trains, but I also would like to experiment more with the horse carriages and see if we can do something more than just like import hazardous waste, burn it, export it. But that's what we're going to start with, because that should be foolproof. Depending on what the waste looks like at the border, we can do some shenanigans. And the map itself is also still open. Probably gonna do something with not too wide of a river, so we can have like a river spanning settlement, but even something like this would be fine. But yeah, I would like to start right in the middle of the map, right at the center here, because then transportation to the borders is even going to be a challenge, I think. And if we're that far in the center, maybe even like running our own food production and food growing is going to be like really important for how long the food will take to get to the center. Not sure I'd worry too much about loyalty in the beginning, but it's definitely going to play a factor at some point. Crime would be important. I mean, loyalty boosts everything, like productivity would be so nice. There's alcohol addiction. Yeah, the starting in the center with horse carriages will probably be very brutal. So, if we have to wait until 1919 until trains... Maybe I'll do the whole thing. I'll allow myself one single rail construction vehicle and one train before I turn back the time. So I'll buy like one disassembled rail construction vehicle and one steam locomotive, and then I turn back the time. And we have one single train to run everything. It would be very annoying to like change the train cars, because the train will have to stop and then we have to mess with the train cars and restart it. Well, that would be a way to do it, I guess. To at least have the ability to have trains. So we could start rail construction right away if we want to. I think that makes sense. Did Imperial Russia really didn't have steam locomotives? I'd have expected them starting around the middle of the 19th century. I'm sure they do. There's no models of that in the game. So... if we want to stay modless, that I guess would be the only way to do it. The official starting date, the earliest one is 1920. Can you... I have to test something. I don't think you... yeah, you can... yeah. You can probably only buy licenses for vehicles that already, like, that are available for purchase based on their date. You can't buy 2 new vehicles. Okay, that also wouldn't have worked then. No, I think I'm gonna buy like an LTC disassembled and a rail construction, that rail construction vehicle plus a steam locomotive before turning back time in one of the customs houses. And then we can see what we do with them. And it'll be modless, so I don't have to like put in a mod with like diesel locomotives that are early start. I just have one of the existing vehicles and can build according to that. So yeah, this is gonna be a bit of a closing stream for this run. Our loyalty test was successful. We're almost at the point where we match the loyalty of the incoming migrants from the eastern border. On average. We have people with way more loyalty than migrants, but we also still have some disloyal people. It is also quite robust to crisis. Like, we had a bit of a heating crisis, happiness dropped to 40%. Loyalty, just a minor dip. Loyalty is quite resilient, but it does take a lot of nourishing. But yeah, I think we have a robust way to actually run that the next time. And I don't think we need an orphanage necessarily, but we need a ton of highly educated people around. An orphanage would guarantee us getting highly educated people with a high loyalty. A prison just guarantees us any high loyalty that is like the most prevalent in the city. We'll have to see how it goes, I guess. Yeah, I wouldn't mind an 1850 start, I guess. I'm not sure we're gonna use personal horses, though. That could get quite messy. Depends on how efficient we can make crop growing. We will have to be quite self-sufficient if we start in the center, because like transporting resources will require like four like refueling tasks probably for the horses each trip, like each direction. So pick up resources, send them here for feeding actions, and then go back for feeding actions. It's going to be quite crop intense to start in the center of the map, and we'll probably be encouraged to like build farming and food way earlier. But those are all just assumptions. I have not done that yet. Last mega city we started, I think I defined like this square, so I think we started somewhere here or here maybe. I don't remember. Farming, yeah. I mean, I think the mega city run's gonna be anything goes. We will still be playing by low tech. I'm not sure about trade deals. Maybe trade deals, I don't know. If we play trade deals, we have to pay attention to waste products and export routes. But if we start 1850, we're gonna go into 1900 with like 50 free research, 5 free research points. So can do a lot more research, I guess. Anything goes, excellent plan. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold back on like productive industries, I don't think. The goal will be something like at least 100,000 people with 75% average loyalty or something like that. Still low tech just to make it interesting, otherwise we're just gonna like... Otherwise I can build like a university next to the border and research with foreign workers to an oil refinery and then just build that, and I don't want to do that. But yeah, like... the city itself... I have like a vision in mind where I want to start in the center with like a small settlement, probably a medium-sized heating plant, not the tiny one, and then start building around it. So maybe this heating plant in the center, and then it's gonna be like the old town center, and we just like keep attaching to it when the city grows larger. Maybe it's like starts snaking out in one direction towards one customs house. That is to be seen, I guess. But yeah, I would not like worry too much about the trade deals thing. That would be too much restriction. I need to do anything I can to make money, I guess. And like being that far in the center, I think logistics is gonna be more important than trade deals anyway. I will start with a hazardous waste incinerator. It does like balance nicely, I think, based on your development. Then I have probably to like make a decision on, do I want to use my train for importing hazardous waste for a nice chunk of money, or do I need the train to import resources to the center of the map? Which is more likely to happen. I don't know. Like there's already like a couple things I'm like thinking about. I hope it's gonna be a good run. But I do think adding the train will make sense, because horses and trains together makes more sense than early road vehicles and trains, I think. Because we want the horses with the low capacity mixed with the trains with the high capacity. And that is probably going to give it like a little bit more of a cool vibe. And if we only have a single train, then we have to figure out what to do. It's probably going to involve a really, really long train that does multiple things in one trip. And at some point we can like get a second train. But yeah, village style gameplay I'm still really interested in, but this run devolved a lot into the loyalty thing. So we didn't really go out and start developing multiple settlements, and I don't want to start now. I'm gonna go Mega City, and then after Mega City, 2027 or something like that, we're gonna like do more village runs or like small towns or mixed runs, just building pretty. Construction is on progress. We're building a food factory here, with the plan on importing grain and running food to our city that way, because food cost is quite high. It's the most expensive thing in our republic. Excuse me. And a sewage pipe to get the running water, wastewater out of the area. After which we build a water pipe into the water substation. And then Prusco will have running water before this lady, because they are next to a factory. So I'll have a clothing factory and a food factory to deal with. Although the food factory will be easily able to supply this whole area. I think in like a mega city you could incorporate these food factories into the city no problem, which is going to be really interesting, I think. We'll probably build more healthcare, but yeah. It'll probably be a very polluted city with decent healthcare at the beginning. And no one with like a loyalty of less than 50% can move in anywhere, so they are going to study. And once they're done studying and they're still below 50%, they're not going to be able to move in anywhere again. And the city's average loyalty should slowly start going up. This looks ridiculous. 71% average loyalty. This is loyalty of workers, I think, so the children in there are more loyal, bringing up the average. Here it's different. Here we let some slightly more disloyal people move in, so we're only at around average of 48, 49. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see if we start this weekend. I'm kinda excited for it. I will have to define an end goal. But I kinda don't want to for Mega City. Nice work there, thank you. Yeah, I kinda have an idea what I would like to do. Like thinking through like a 50-year step through like the life of a city in workers and resources is maybe overdoing it. We still have to like abide by the market, but it's gonna be nice having like some design plan. And this time I'll probably upload I'll upload the Mega City run to YouTube too, because I think the last one not being uploaded was maybe a little bit bad, but oh well. The first 7 years in the original run we didn't do much, and I don't think a war start is going to change that. It might make it even worse. Although we are going to build the incinerator right away, so... And we might have a lot more construction vehicles this time. And hopefully a very high throughput customs house. And we can do rail construction right away too, with the changes I'm suggesting. What train would we use in an 1850 start? Like the track builder would be the LTC. I think we're not gonna get like a fast track builder. But I guess we only have like 2 trains anyway, I believe. Oh yeah, no passenger. Right, the train cars are the other option, because they're also not available. 1910. Yeah, that would be a problem. I mean, I could always flip the time back to like somewhat forward, buy stuff and reset it, but it's going to mess up with the statistics, I guess. Maybe this isn't such a foolproof plan after all. Oh well. We'll figure something out, I guess. Maybe I'll get a vehicle production line and then buy the licenses for it somehow. I can temporarily flip it to all vehicles allowed and then flip it back to locked according to year. That would be the other option. Like, we'll figure out something. But I will not restrict myself to no trains until 1919 again. That was too much. Half of the run until now was without trains. My cities always look really messy. Is there some guides that could help me improve? Well, there's different kinds of messy. There's like the whole... Like, this is all built without a grid, for example. One thing you can do is like learn how to align buildings to each other so they're like straight. Like if you have a building rotated and you want it to be like in a 90-degree angle or the same rotation, you can get close to it, and if you mouse over it you see the red dots like change color from green to red. If they change it one by one, it's not perfectly straight. If they change it all at the same time, it's perfectly straight. And then you can rotate it sideways and same. One huge thing I'm usually paying attention to is like making sure that the white wall windows are like not as obstructed. Like this is kind of like awkward for the people living here because they don't really have a view, but most of the windows are facing a gap where there's like at least like 5+ meters or more, like 10 meters I guess, where they're not like blocked in, so that looks a little bit nicer. And yeah, when you want to make things like if you place things in parallel, I guess it looks a little bit more barracksy, but it can also look nice. You can can make basic shapes. So when you put a building at an angle, what I usually pay attention to is that the corners of the building, like this corner and this corner, align. So if this building's like here, it looks kind of wonky. It's like, but it can also work. Like if you put like a tree in there or something, just like it has to look deliberate. I try to keep my footpaths close to the buildings and then leave some green area around so it looks more normal. Other people might prefer building the footpath always like right in the center between buildings, but I think that looks kind of unnatural. Hello Neo Contra, welcome. And hello Marcos Mateo, welcome. So I have like some synergies between buildings where they like, you think they're like connected but they are put apart, but they still line up somewhat. So when I build buildings, I usually don't look at the like when you place them down, I don't look at the footpath. Like, is the footpath straight? Is the footpath curved? No, I look at, does the top left corner of this building that I'm holding line up with the corner of the building I'm mousing over right now? Then you can go out of it and then plop the building down here, for example, and it would look like a backyard, for example, that you could encircle with these buildings. What would be the center of the city? Bus station or the shopping mall? My city usually starts with the heating plant or heat exchanger, water, sewage, electricity, and then I develop around that. But you can do a bus stop as a center. Like, it depends on what you want to do with it. I usually develop this, and then I know if every building I'm placing is like connected to it. And then I go from there. Like, if I extend it further, or if I just have horses, I need more because, oh my god, how am I gonna get water to my new city in Mega City? I'm gonna have to make that right away. Rely on chemical imports. Jeez. Starting right in the center with horses is gonna be a nightmare. What the hell am I thinking? I need like trains right away. Utilities then. That's one approach, but yeah, you can also go. You can place the bus stop first and then build around that. I like going for landmarks first. So if you want your city to look a little bit more organized, you can like first get the layout. So if you want like, I don't know, if you have like a curve coming down a way that goes up onto a hill, and you want to place a city here, you could say, okay, there's gonna be like a road here, and like a road here, and that forms like a curve or like a shallow thing or whatever. Or you could say, okay, it's like half curved, and then you cut this piece off and this piece off and make that flat. So we have like some shape. Then you define the center, like maybe this area. Doesn't have to be like right the center of the shape, it can be anywhere. I usually try to look for right-hand turns. What direction do the vehicles want to go? So if the vehicles coming out of the bus stop have to do a left-hand turn, that would be bad for traffic. So then if they have to go this direction, well, they have to do one left-hand turn either way, but then I might put the bus stop here, I guess. But if they want to go this way after the fact, like, let's say the buses arrive from here and they want to go this way, then obviously a run-through station would make more sense. But if they arrive here and they also want to go back this way, then I might put the bus stop like in this area. So they would do the left-hand turn, go around, and then do a right-hand turn leaving. Because the right-hand turn is less likely to get jammed up. But you could also put the stop here and do the left-hand turn in front, because then the buses would not block themselves because they would move into the stop first. Or put an end station down too. So you have your bus stop. However you want to design that. Or you start with the utilities, like heat exchanger or small heating plant. Water, sewage, electricity. I like keeping them clustered because it just makes it easier. Especially in the beginning, that's quite convenient, but later on you might have to pay more attention to the layout of your settlement, I guess. And water deliveries, sewage and electricity. I mean, water and sewage can be done by like a technical service for a while, in most cases, unless you're really far from the border, I guess. And then electricity by wire. Electricity is also going to have like a lot of power loss. This whole mega city idea right in the center in a 1900 start or 1850 start or even earlier is going to be so stupid. It's going to be so much power loss. Well, you have your heating, water, sewage, making sure I like have the water and sewage like facing similar directions, and then bring them onto the main road at some point. And then yeah, you can like start. I usually go through the service buildings, so either a grocer or a shopping center first. Probably a shopping center if it's a city. Paying attention to where the footpaths go. If you want a warehouse or not, I tend to not use warehouses directly attached to that anymore. And then put the alcohol kiosk in and other things, and like divide the whole thing with like footpaths or something to make it like look more organic. Maybe here. That's about straight, I guess. And then later on, like facilities like, well, first thing is probably a fire station, but yeah. Like you need some like straight elements, but you also need some curves to make it like look more lived in. It's like, what do you want to focus on, I guess, on the city side? Like this looks kind of weird to me because the footpath is now in the middle of this. I usually try to keep the footpath as close to a building as possible. And then I have a free space here, and I can use that for, who knows, like either a monument or something else later on. I like to keep a couple open areas, I guess. Are you a civil engineer? You think as an engineer? No, I'm not. I just played workers and resources for too long, I think. Way too much workers and resources. Just looked up some Russian railway history. St. Petersburg-Moscow Railway started in 1843 and finished in 1851. Russia definitely had an established rail system with those steam locomotives before 1900. Yeah, but we're not Russia. We're like a Soviet republic. So we're even a Soviet republic that didn't exist until 1960. But I know what you mean. Like Eastern Europe, I guess in general, has had trains since 1850. So I'll have to like mess around with the whole settings during the run a little bit, I think, just to make sure we can use a train. I'll find a limit somehow. Either we produce these trains ourselves and buy like the license for it early, or I just flip them on enabled, buy something and then flip it back off. We're gonna do horses and trains for a while. A single train. This would probably be the starting settlement size of like the mega city. And yeah, without a train with horses, we would not be able to feed them. I don't know. It's gonna be its own challenge again. Hopefully we don't have to build too many waste incinerators to fund this whole project. Come on, loyalty. Stop going down. I know we don't have housing for everyone, but who can you blame for that, really? Oh god, there's too many students. Oh god, there's so many people waiting to move into houses. Like we have a backlog of people with really high loyalty. It's ridiculous. But also kind of cool. I was thinking of doing another race room race today, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Yeah, I mean, I have been thinking of the Megacity 19 run a little bit. This will have like interesting challenges. I have not tried it, but we will have to handle a lot of things in ourselves without trying to go to the border all the time. Might make it interesting. Construction material deliveries are going to be a nightmare. And I'll have to like think a little bit about optimizing things in regards to performance, so we can have a really wide city. With like horses, it's not going to be very tall, but at some point it'll start upgrading. The whole process of like upgrading this lady from horses to vehicles was kind of cool. And also like remodeling the city a little bit. We didn't really tear down houses to put down more modern houses, but we could. Could start tearing things down and put down modern like residential buildings here. That might come into play. But yeah, the loyalty changes work really well. I think they're going to be easy to implement next time. Oh, we need a secret police. I don't think we need... Okay, no. Secret police and education for most loyal citizen only. Otherwise I have to make a weird setup with the orphanages again. But not gonna worry about that too early, I don't think. 116% productivity at age 22. Only 77% loyalty, but 84% happiness. .73 happiness seems quite high. Hello Zadlier. Thank you very much for the raid. Welcome everyone. Did you get people into your Workers and Resources Republic now? I had to leave early. Welcome Raiders, I'm the Sprite. We're also playing Workers and Resources, putting a pin into our Republic here in favor of starting a new run, which will be a Mega City run. The next time we play Workers and Resources. And that's gonna be weird, but we'll get to that when we get to it, I guess. Hope you're doing well. If you have to run, no problem. Not quite yet. Do have houses now. Just want to complete the third house so that I can fit in all the pops I mean on importing initially. Yep. That's gonna be a thing. No heating required. No pollution on Asia maps. From heating at least. Tons of crops. That's probably gonna help a lot with like the early start if you can make your own food to reduce the throughput on your only customs house. It's coming along nicely. Population in less than a year, mark my words. Alright. In-game time or this year, 2026? Not quite clear. Yes, okay. I see. I wanted to redo the coaling station. That's gonna fall flat now, but good lessons learned, I guess. Coaling stations do not pull coal from an attached resource storage without a conveyor. So yeah, a little bit of a send-off to our test republic where we messed around with loyalty a lot. And I think it's gonna be quite nice. Applying what we learned in like a city that's gonna have like several tens of thousands of people. I wonder if there's gonna be a point in having disloyal people in your republic. I don't know if they have any benefit. Like, do really loyal people have like a downside? Other than increasing productivity too much where you might make more pollution than normal. Next time is gonna be Mega Stable 1. Mega City 19 I was gonna call it. But yes. The plan is the Mega City run. And I'm eyeballing either... Like, I'm eyeballing letting chat vote which time we should start in. I'm probably gonna start that vote now. So people can get on that if they want to vote for it. So the vote is going to be which time should we start Mega City 19, which is going to be the next run we do after this series ends with this stream. We will play Mega City 19. Can you tell me there are options other than 1900? Yes. We're going to go... probably going to go 1850 earliest. (1850 to 1900) people will be able to vote. One vote at most. Actually, no, people can have 2 votes. One per, like, vote max, I guess. So, yeah. We're going to run the vote now. At which time should we start Mega City 19? You can either type the date or the number in front of the date to cast your vote. Well, Zadlier just voted for 1900, so that's good. They say 1900, but I tested it. They're available earlier. So... (1880), okay. And remember, each person has 2 votes, so you can vote for 2 options if you want to. But not the same option twice. 1850. Well, that's the question, like how long are people comfortable with me stretching out, like not having anything other than horses and trains? Because I will be allowing myself to use default game trains. Either I'll allow myself to flip on the setting for vehicle availability to all and be able to buy 1 train, 1 rail construction vehicle, and as many train cars as I want whenever I need them. Or I'll allow myself to flip this on all and acquire production licenses, but then I can't buy. Then I can only buy the rail construction vehicle at the border, not trains or train cars. which would be a nightmare. Because the other challenge is that we are going to start the city right in the center of the map. Which is with horse as well. You know. But yeah, that's why I'm thinking like a train and rail construction right from the start to get to the city is probably a pretty good idea. So we'll probably do that. We'll get a train, some train cars, a rail construction vehicle, put them in a depot, then we'll slowly crawl towards the center of the map. And then the train will have to do its work. But yeah, it might be too early for people. Another 1880 start, okay. That makes sense not starting too early. This run we started in 1890. We started in 1900, but in 1910 we turned back the time to 1900, so we started 10 years earlier, technically. And adding another 10 years to that would mean that currently we would be in 1928. But it would give us more time for figuring stuff out with horses, especially farming. Farming is going to be quite important. So I kind of want to like make the difficulty of the logistics higher. Because I think that the most challenging part in this game is building away from a customs house. The most costly thing. And then even the productive, the money-making buildings sometimes might not be enough. But yeah, the waste incinerator is going to be at the border. And that's how I'm going to open. Pretty sure. An 1880 style would probably be good, yeah. It's ridiculous, sadly. I don't know if you were here when yeah, I don't think you were here, but Brusco only allows people in with 50 to 75% loyalty. All buildings are currently full. Best Lady only allows 75 to 100% loyalty. All buildings are still full. And the people in the student hall seem to be filling up. But I think they're also like slowly losing loyalty while they're staying here. But we have a lot of people with high loyalty. Good evening, 1880 sounds good. Hello, Angry Shrimp. Welcome. Also, hello, Milkman. The buildings are still filled with people from before I made that setting, but it has been running, I think, for over a year now, if I remember correctly, and population growth with higher educated, regular educated with high loyalty is still holding. Population growth should slow down now that we have a lot of people who can't move into buildings, I guess. But yeah, the fact that we're like spending so much money on food is the whole reason we were setting up a food factory. This might be our first industry in the city. Even more so than a clothing factory, it might just be like a city that starts with like farms around itself. That don't even have like a farm building next to it, just like a field, and then there's gonna be like a horse carriage waiting until loaded inside. And whenever the farm goes active, the workers walk inside sow, and then whenever it goes active during harvest season and they harvest, the vehicle just gonna run. We might not need a farm building to run these. The horseplow would make it more efficient, of course. But yeah, that could be a thing. Another vote for 1900. Yeah, I can also understand if people don't want to go through the whole process again and would much rather see like the modernization of like the Republic for Megacity. Because even 1900 to 2000 is still going to be a long time. But there's not going to be any reset vote during that game, because that kind of messed with the statistics a bit too much. $1890 start, basically what we did this game. Fair enough. Maybe I'll combine the both things, like I can have one train with the train cars I want, and one rail construction vehicle for the next run. But any future train or future train car I want, I'll have to produce myself. Maybe we can combine that. But I don't think I can start this without a train. Like, imagine carrying resources from the western border to the center of the map with horses. I think they might eat more crops than they would like transport during that trip. It's like the rocket equation. It's basically like rocket fuel. At some point you have so much rocket fuel on board that you're burning more rocket fuel to carry it up, then you can't carry more. What is that for the horses? Like, what is the maximum distance the horses can carry resources to? Or where do they break down to zero, basically? With transporting crops, that would be a test. A very strange test. That was one train too many. God dang it. Oh well, it's not like... it's fine. Let's go out in the blaze of glory with like tremendous spending. $150 meters, I think, was the length. So either an Opeln or a Castle. 9 meters for 17 tons. The Dresden is longer. Makes for a more impressive train carrying not so many resources. I want to cram as many crops in there as possible, so it's either the Castle or the Opeln. Doesn't really matter which, we're gonna go for the cheaper one. There's still like probably a size difference. If we're getting 10 of them, that's 90 meters, plus the train was 9. That's 100 meters. That should be about it, I guess. We'll see. Yeah, the whole megacity would have to run on like trains for quite an extended time. They're very German trains, only 9s. Yes. This whole thing doesn't work. I need another train car for this one too. It's not bringing enough fabric, I don't think. Slowly running out. I mean, I could also import fabric with the new train and then just park the fabric here, I guess. That'll be fine. Then we can do the fabric import and the clothing export from this side, and this train doesn't have to worry about it, I guess. But how would it get the fabric then? The clothing then? The trucks again still? I guess. I don't know. Doing it at the city is, I guess, sensible. I mean, if we're picking up the food from here, then we can also pick up the clothing from here and unload the fabric into here. But then it would all be on this train again, which needs another cargo wagon. Excellent. Other trains moving in. Huh. Sure. Oh, there's the other train. Okay, so our city train will have to pick up the other train car to transport. Yeah, it's so much larger. It has the same carrying capacity as the small ones. Kind of cute. This one needs to be configured to only hold clothing for the export, so it's one train car each. We can't really double up. Unless I could have... Oh, I probably could have. I could have had two unassigned train cars loading anything. Oh, we still can do that. Sure, then we can have double the capacity for something. I mean, actually the food train cars could double for export. That makes more sense, I think. So this could be something else. Probably fabric, because we're running out on import already, and production could still go up. Okay, you can't really get to the train depot from here, but if you ever go to the customs house, it would be possible. Or you can go to Ustron and get vehicles repaired there too. I have not designed this with the idea in mind that trains that are waiting in either of these stations can go to the repair station directly, I guess. So you get that thing, and I guess the food wagons are gonna be any resource. That should work. Oops. Which one did I mess up now? Mechanical, chemicals, alcohol, electronic. The fabric one, I'm pretty sure. The first fabric one. So they can hold anything now. We have to change the loading command at the border, otherwise it's going to get confused and like dump it full of the other materials. So first we'll load everything else, full that the train can hold, which will leave only the train cars that can hold food, which means that afterwards we can load food, everything else. Then we unload everything, wait until unloaded for food, and then we load however much clothing there is, which can be fit into the train cars for the clothing. The clothing can be fit into the train cars for the food, because those are going to be unloaded and accepting everything. So I'll have an extra train car for fabric, I guess. Okay, that is 145 meters, 15 train cars, perfect. I'm gonna go here and import crops, wait until unloaded. I think this length is enough. Yeah, easily, okay. What do you mean unreachable? Oh, because no, it should be able to go through here. Another vote for 4? Okay, I guess we'll be starting in 1880. I'll leave the vote up for a little bit longer. Wait, are you complaining about not being able to get to the customs house? Why is that? Oh, now you do. Okay. Weird. Maybe there was a train in the way or something. Alright, I guess we'll lock it in. Mega City 19 start is gonna be in 1880. Sounds reasonable. It's gonna be 10 years earlier than this start. Horses for longer. We're only gonna do low tech. And we're gonna allow ourselves to get a train when we need it. And the goal is to get as large of a city as possible, starting from the center. I can't get over the fact that I don't see these trains as long trains anymore. Alright, yeah, we'll lock in the vote. 1880 start it shall be. Thanks for voting. Loyalty down to 55. All those 21-year-olds without their own flat are driving down our loyalty, I guess. Which makes sense. But I hope it also drives down the birth rate, and then at some point they'll leave and then it can recover again. You need to go through the end station. Oh no, I didn't want these to go through the end station because they look kind of silly. That's the whole reason I built a passing track. I like to limit myself for the end stations to the length of the track. It's gonna cost us some money right now. I hope I didn't mess up with the resource train here. This should all be normal. 23 tons of clothing. Yeah, it's a... I mean, you can export any clothing because we do have a dedicated storage for the city for it. And if they don't bring any clothing to the warehouse, then it's fine. Plus, you're probably gonna pick up the clothing from this warehouse and then transport it to this warehouse yourself. I guess that makes sense. Then the horse carriages carrying around the fabric and the clothing would be cut down to like a single horse carriage, just getting it from the warehouse to the... or not horse carriage, but like a single truck. Getting it from the warehouse and driving it to the clothing factory and back. The train can then take over. Yeah, we can run the clothing over that too. Sewage pipe is done. Let's build... It's not working yet. The pump has no power. We'll free up the power connection over here so we can go directly to Prisco with an underground wire. It would be neat if we could accept multiple resources in a train car, I guess. So you could say crops and a different one. Oh yeah, that train is mostly standing around in this warehouse. Unless it needs fuel, I guess. That could be an issue. If it goes up in here, it can only return to the warehouse, I guess, because it's going to be slightly too long, I believe. Shouldn't interrupt the route, though. Just means like a bit of an extra trip, I guess. How about to make it really fun, let's make it a Siberian megacity. I mean... I think I would need another test run, another science time before I do that. In our first and only science time, we seem to have figured out that even with high pollution, if people are really happy, the birth rate competes the pollution of a large heating plant. Which was kind of ridiculous. That's why I love boats, covered in open hull anyhow. You can load multiple types into it. You can do that in train cars too. But the limitation, I guess, of the cargo space. Wait, no, I can do that. I'm talking nonsense. You can do that. What I mean is, not the like. Wait, no, you can do that. Yeah. Just you have to like the buttons don't make it easy. Like I can say crops only, and then I want to like also enable the other thing, but no, I would have to go in and like say crop. Yeah. No, I'm ignore what I said. You can have both. It's fine. It's just you have to go through these individually. There's no like enable this resource. It would need a dedicated new button, I guess. There's a forbid, there's a carry only this resource, and there should be a carry this resource button. I might ask for that. Because I guess you could also go through and like forbid the resources individually that you don't want, which is the same thing just in reverse. Never mind, yeah, that works. So I could have one wagon set to food and clothing. So in one direction it carries food, and once it's unloaded in the other direction it exports clothing. So I could still run the designations for these train cars, I guess. It's just going to be a bit awkward with the assignments here. That is the wrong train. That one is the crop train, not the city's train. That might change anyway. Yeah, you can do the same thing. I wasn't thinking. Even trucks allow you to mix cargo in 10% increments, like trains. How much pollution does... Can we see the statistics of these? Railway, yes. 10 tons of pollution, ugh. I was thinking of running one of these in our city. I mean, if the whole idea of like, screw pollution, maybe we can just ignore pollution, maybe it does work. Maybe we can just build orphanages to compensate. In one of our runs it didn't work, like in the very first megacity run, I said, oh, it doesn't work. But maybe now it does, like, maybe I just need to compensate with healthcare and it's fine. I guess we're gonna try that. It's gonna be such a weird run. Do you even start with like a larger healthcare building than these two? I think you unlock these. I don't think you start with the hospital. That might be Soviet functionalism only. Which is gonna be quite a bit away. Hospital. Might be the larger one. Yeah, we're gonna make like something weird, I think. I wouldn't mind like recreating like an actual like 1850s style city with like all the pollution and low life expectancy, factories in the city, etc. Maybe it's actually like a thing where people don't have as much of a negative reaction to this, but like as time goes on, maybe that also increases. Because in our first megacity run, we clearly started in 1960, and it didn't seem to work. Maybe we need a science time pollution. These tiny dump trucks, man. Smaller than horse carriages. But faster. Way faster. Can you produce horse carriages? Yes. You can produce horse carriages and you can create horses out of crops. So that can also be done. But we haven't made like farming functional yet with horse carriages. Which has to happen first before we can decide to make our own vehicles out of our crops. Gotta feed our people first, I think. Okay, let's change this train's cargo again. The first wagons are gonna be food and clothing only. And that should then work. Yeah. So on the trip from the customs house to the warehouse, it's gonna bring food, and then on the return trip it can load however much clothing we have, which it'll pick up from this warehouse. And the fabric import is limited to 2 train cars. That I can't share because we're loading it at the same area as the food wagons, so we can't assign that here too. They have to go in different directions, I guess, to share the same wagon. God, we can reduce the amount of workers and grocers now. People are just so efficient. "13 visitors at an alcohol kiosk with 2 sellers." Can go up to 24. Okay, sure. Alcohol kiosk is more efficient than a pub. Like the modern pub is less efficient than a early start pub, I guess. Interesting. Machine replacement. It happens. Yeah, let's throw in some Yard 12Ds. Or some Yak 10 open with trailer. Let's put in 2 of these. gonna be a bit of a shock going back to horse carriages though, because of like how little we can build. I think I'm gonna go directly for water, for sure. Why am I talking so much about the next run? I mean, yeah, I mean, spitballing, eyeballing the future, I guess. It's what our republic does. Okay, 56% again. Loyalty going back up. We also need a map that is close to a body of water. Because I need water, I guess, for sewage. I'm not gonna carry sewage all the way to the border. You can always terraform yourself some water for sewage purposes. Yeah, I don't like doing that. I don't like making a poop lake. Not a big fan of that. But yes, you can. An artificial pond. Okay, start the pipe here too, because the substation is almost done and then the sewage pump's gonna start working. Put this on high priority, I guess. I guess for pollution it would be the inverse. We would have to think a lot about happiness to keep population growth high. But you still need high loyalty, I guess. Or like, loyalty should not crash, otherwise you're gonna lose your population and it will drive down the happiness too. One flat free, two flats free. They should be filled up. Also free. Why is no one moving in? I do have higher educated with more than 75% loyalty. I guess they take a while to check, maybe? Probably at the end of free time. They find open flats, I would guess. You might find one. Nope. There's a room free here for you, I thought. Why are they not moving in? Okay, you moved in. Good. Oh no, they're moving in. It's fine, sure. Not a fan of a poop lake. Good evening to you too. Hello, Devalish. Wasn't talking about you this time. How are you doing? Talking about the end of this run right now, and Mega City 19 will start next time. There might be another science time in between where we do like a deep dive into pollution, I guess, to do some theory testing before we go into Mega City 19, because I would like to build a city that represents something of the era. Heating plants in the city galore. Doing good, thanks for asking. You're welcome. Good to hear that. It's not gonna be a very long stream today, I don't think. That was a long day at work. But we will have a long weekend, so that's nice. And a long weekend could lead to a long workers and resources session. Although I do want to I don't think the Stalker 2 run has any end in sight. I don't know how long the campaign is. I would like to continue that. And Grimshire is like, we're halfway through. So, I think. Unless it throws a curveball. The Clan Folk run, I think, is not going to continue. Because in Clan Folk I always start losing the challenge, basically, when I start trading for the gear and I unlock it for my own production that way, saving a ton of idea points. Yeah, some series might have to be cut. Hello, Simon. Why are you so worried? I mean, you've been here for a while. I don't know why I said hello. I guess I'm trying to calm you down, I guess. You seem to be worried about something. What is the problem? Shorts. Oh, wow, yeah. I see. Like I said, like work week, these 3 days here might be shorter. Can't really help that. I want to see the food factory in action. I wanted to see the loyalty rise more, which it might do now with the change and people like slowly leaving. It's gonna be very slow though, because there's gonna be we already have 240 21-year-olds without their own flat. 20% of all quote-unquote children. Oh, yeah, that's probably fine. There's a lot of train cars on flat spaces. They should be able to hold that with their brake. I'm pretty sure. We could turn off the clothing factory. Oh no, machine replacement is done, never mind. But I should tell you to stop loading clothing. And you're gonna go to a vehicle depot afterwards. Because you're gonna be phased out for now. We'll only need a single truck. It's not gonna be this warehouse, but I'm gonna assign it for now. This will be the warehouse that will get fabric deliveries and clothing export. Because we don't need that much storage for food. It's not the main warehouse to store food. Is sewage working? Sewage is working now. Means the water pipe can be built and we have running water for the food factory afterwards. Still need the factory connections, but they're ongoing. We also have to make a decision what steam trains we're going to allow ourselves. Are we going to go for the very fast ones, or are we going to use the shunting ones? The 45 km/h ones, these ones. I think the fast ones look more impressive, but these ones are kind of cool. Maybe we'll start with a fast one and then we can produce the smaller ones. So many students. All with low loyalty. Despicable. I mean, we could also lower the amount of 21-year-olds without their own flat by just sending everyone with low loyalty to this university and freezing them to death. Just saying. Let's test that. We must not allow the most loyal people to go here with their car, otherwise this is gonna turn a bit bad for them. But yeah, any loyalty is now allowed here. I can't have an upper loyalty limit. And then we just... no more workers in the heating plant, I guess. It's not going to be that cold right now because it's already around freezing, but... that might deal with the overpopulation a bit. That is... if it's gonna work, it's gonna improve the average loyalty, isn't it? Unless some students show up here with like over 50% loyalty, I guess. Yeah, some people by car are heading this way, and I mean they can work in the fire station, I guess, if they want to. Sure, they have that as an option. Ideally, they wouldn't work in the university, I guess. Otherwise, they're gonna freeze to death. We might have to just turn off personal cars heading this way. I don't want to freeze my most loyal citizen. Hello, I've watched your words for some time now, and now I'll watch your live. Hello, Mickert. Welcome. Indeed, I am live. Although this is going to be the last run of the Poland loyalty test, we're going to start a Mega City run afterwards, which I think is going to be good fun. North Korea Mega City, that would be interesting. Huh. North Seoul. Sort of. Oh, we have another truck here, I think. You're set to wait until loaded for fabric, but you're moving if you're also full of clothing, huh? Interesting. Well, I'm gonna be assigned to the correct warehouse now. Wait until loaded for fabric, unload clothing. And then opposite here. And you will also not be necessary anymore. You don't need to load any clothing. Kigasol. Maybe we can take a look at which map to play to round off the stream. Hello Burns. Welcome. I don't really have any particular like limits or like what I really want. Really want. Right, there's the food factory. Need the warehouse factory connections. Then I'll have access to crops and people can start working here, I guess. Can't really get there from the train right now. That we can maybe change? Haven't thought of that. Maybe. Looks rather impossible. Okay, that would work. Then they can unload directly from the train into the food factory too. What I'm hearing is a random map megacity. That was our second megacity, was on a random map because I didn't want to deal with terrain. But I think we can throw terrain into the challenge. Like an island megacity would be something else. I don't think I could do that right now. But that would also be kind of cool. Yeah, like if we don't find a good map, a random map could also be interesting. Or like make it easy to focus on the city building part, but not the terrain. Although I think we could be capable of handling the terrain this time. Like on the first the second mega city, the first one failed because I was doing a grid style and I wasn't really focusing on and had a lack of healthcare, I guess. But yeah, it would be more like the first one, I guess. The second one was a random map. Random Sibir map. I don't know. Siberia would be rough. I don't know if the extra challenge would be worth it. That might be a bit much. Thank you for the follow, Ahelius. Much appreciated. Welcome to the stream. Alright, let's replace the customs house here. We're loading clothing. We're not loading clothing anymore. So we are not loading anything here. We're gonna go to this warehouse first. We will pick up food and clothing. We will unload fabric. Then we'll go to the customs house. Load chemicals, fabric, alcohol, mechanical and electronic components. Then load food if we haven't produced enough, because that's gonna happen for a while. No clothing, no food, and then their food if we need it. And then we'll go to the city, unload anything to fill up the warehouses there. So if we're out of fabric, this one's going to fill up first before it goes to the clothing factory. Then wait until unloaded for food, unload everything again, go to the warehouse, unload the fabric, get the food and clothing from here. You're gonna run that route, go to the warehouse for now. Drop your fabric in there. Hopefully you can go there without getting blocked by the other train. And yeah, the truck will only have a travel distance of like 20-30 meters. 100 meters apparently. I am so bad at adjusting distances. No waiting until unloaded, no waiting until loaded, just pick up whatever. We'll get a warning message from this fabric now. And we do need to drop off clothing at the city. So unload anything, including clothing, unload food, unload anything. We're not exporting from the city anymore. So hopefully some trains with workers will arrive here and we'll get the food factory up and running. We still have to build the footpath to make it accessible. I don't have to assign it. I'll basically split up the workers between all facilities based on the education, so most of them are going to go to the secret police, clinic and grocer. But even the buildings locally can reach the food factory. Like I could build more facilities, I guess. More residential buildings. Bit more travel distance for our train. Why did you only load 12 tons of food? I'm confused. I'm really confused. Did we load that full of something else at the customs house? Oh, yeah, these are in the wrong order. Yep. We have to load food first. Oops. Load food first, then load the other things because we need to fill the cargo first where anything is accepted. And if we fill the train with chemicals first, then the chemicals can also go into the food wagon, which means we have 19 tons of chemicals right now. So food deliveries are going to be a little bit slow for the foreseeable future until those wagons run themselves a little bit more empty again. Just means the train is going to run more frequently, I guess, because it's set to wait until unloaded. And we do have a 2-stage warning system here. First this warehouse, and then another 360 tons of food on that one. That's food for a couple months. Alright. Almost there. 2 more footpaths and we have a connection for the people walking through here. And it's down to 1. And then worker deliveries to the area will unload into any facility. And I guess they can do that now. Yep, food factory is running. We are going to try a weird start. I think it's going to be in the center be a food factory, something like that. It makes the most sense. Hey, we loaded 1.1 ton of our own food from this. I mean, if I have like 75% loyalty or up waiting around, I should let them move into Prusco rather than letting lowly loyal people with 50 to 75% loyalty in there, right? Just replace everyone with 75% or higher loyalty everywhere, since they're also still waiting to move into houses. So I think we're getting 0.54 tons of food a day right now. I assume the percentage here multiplied by the production per workday amount is the one that you're actually getting. So 0.27 and now lower than that. I think that's how the calculation works. Okay, maybe I shouldn't like... Let's not do this anymore. Let's treat our students with some respect here too, I guess. I don't know if I caused a minor death spiral. I don't think I did. It was already warm enough, presumably. But yeah, let's educate our citizens again. Some of them might get over 75% loyalty, who knows? Probably not though. So from this, what we'll use in your megacity save, the loyalty. We also learned a little bit more about pollution, so the city is probably going to be more involved with pollution until we decide to change it at some point. I might do another science time, which I did in between this run to figure out loyalty more in depth. We might do another short-ish science time session then, before the megacity run starts. And I don't really have much experience with pollution where we can like negate it while having it next to our citizens, other than our last science time session where it seemed to be possible to have a large heating plant right next to our citizen. So we'll do some testing with that. Probably on a Siberia map to make it really obvious, I guess. Or maybe just a normal map for the future run. And then we got some knowledge with like the horse carts early on that we learned. I will definitely build with single train track networks until we have enough trains running around where it makes sense to use multiple. Passenger trains probably have to happen, but yeah, that will take a while. I don't know how the 1880 start Mega City 19 is going to function. I just have a lot of like expectations, I guess, but no clear... I have no experience with like what a Mega City in an early start would do. It's probably going to get weird a bit. This warehouse doesn't need a warning for food because it's only producing and exporting. Or like, well, going onto the train. We do have 2 warning systems here before the shopping centers are affected. But if we're always planning to overproduce, then yes, we would also set a warning message in this warehouse, I guess. Because it should never run empty. I mean, it is an earlier warning system even. If multiple trains would be going here and this would be a large food factory, then we want the warning to trigger as soon as possible, because the warehouses are going to follow shortly after. Let's just say that a lot of traffic in the city will mean a lot of street sweepers needed. Yeah. If only we could gather that for fertilizer. Did we have a population drop? Did I cause... Oh, yes. I did. However, the number of 21-year-olds without their own flat is 255 now. I know, right? If only, yeah. I did learn that if you overbuild the farms, where they don't get fully harvested before winter hits, the fertility doesn't reset below 150, if they are at 150 or above. So you can keep farms at high fertility without needing to fertilize them, if you don't fully harvest them. You can use cows to make fertilizer, yes. You can build a livestock hall, supply it with water, and it makes fertilizer indefinitely. And you can basically use a small water well again. They added small water wells. It does require workers though. But yeah. 95% quality water? Or was it 93? For the livestock hall, 93. And then just a water pump, and you can basically use that to produce your own fertilizer. And the cows don't die unless they're subjected to pollution, which can happen if the fertilizer piles up. Nuclear power plant. Yep, that was another thing I have not done yet, I guess. 100% higher education republic only. It wouldn't work. I wouldn't need the villages to be like basic education only. But yeah, that way I wouldn't need a secret police in here. So that's also something I would use, I guess. Separating our city from villages by education. I think the nuclear power plant would be like a mini thing that I would probably not upload to YouTube. I don't know. Nuclear power plant? Sadly, I've never held a presentation this rad. No, nuclear. It's running on water turned into fertilizer through the power of cows, and then you burn that. So basically achieved cold fusion. It's a nuclear power plant. PowerPoint, no. No PowerPoints here. This is after work. This pun was terrible. Just like a PowerPoint, yeah. No, that went by me. I'm sorry. Could not deal with that at all. The stalls can also go critical if you don't have the air handling in order to seen pig and cow stalls go up in flames, not in Netherlands? Oh god. That sounds scary. Gas is concentrated, create can be bad. Yeah. Maybe the pig got hold of a lighter or something. Okay, finally some flats are freeing up, so we're seeing some empty flats here, which is good. That tells me maybe Prusco should be 50 to 75 still. So not the most loyal people go here, but we'll keep them concentrated in the city and see if we can make it work. But everyone with less than 50% loyalty will not find a flat in our republic. So theoretically, everyone going through this university has a chance of like getting a building, like not getting a building, but like moving into a building into a city, because their loyalty should be pushed up so much. In Germany, fire alarm systems and fire sprinkler systems are mandatory. In livestock halls, yeah, I can imagine. Makes sense, there's German solution. Well, kind of force people to do the minimum basic safety, I guess. Go. I don't want you to go to the secret police anymore. And I hope you figure out that you need to go to the grocery store yourself. So just send the workers anywhere, I guess. Could lead to a food crisis, I guess, if they don't work in the grocery, but I hope they do. Because we value that our meat gets cooked only shortly before we order it, not while it's still at the farm. Yeah. Makes the meat a little bit too tough. Yeah, everyone studying here has, almost everyone studying here has enough loyalty. Even these people should be able to move into houses. Basic education, that's the reason. We don't have any room for people with a basic education anymore. These houses are allowed for basic education, therefore... Maybe these ones should be allowed. Basic education, high loyalty. Most likely going to the train station, I guess. Wait, they had a basic education, but they're studying right now. So they're gonna get a higher education eventually. Never mind. But we can still allow a couple extra people in with a high basic education, I guess, if it's high loyalty. Why not? Maybe I should tell the bus to carry them to the heating plant and then this platform. No, the bus is there to make sure that the heating plant keeps running. It should not do anything extra. Its main purpose is to make sure if the train has a problem, the heating plant doesn't die. Just as a safety precaution. Didn't grow historically, it's just preemptive, I guess. Why not make a brick factory next to the heating plant? You got the coal there already. I didn't want to overdo the pollution because this thing is only running at half capacity, and it would push the pollution up into the city where it would affect the lifespan again. I could do it, but yeah, I would have made like a different village for that. Something like Prosco with its own like collection of workers working in a brick factory instead. But for Megacity, everything will be in the city. Not necessarily all the industries, but I am going to try and put all the industries into the city too. If I remember, like Megacity 1 second run, the 4 large chemical plants could have probably not made it into the city. Or we could have tried. But yeah, I'm not building every industry. This was mostly a run about testing the loyalty, trying to get high loyalty without radio or TV or electronics at all. And it seems to be going up now. Again. Very good. We're at our pause. And now that we're only allowing 75% or higher, some of the people who are unhappy about that change are leaving, pushing up the average loyalty. Some flats have opened up for people with a higher education, meaning that as soon as their education in the university finishes, they can also move in right away. So everything is working well. I thought 40 was max without radio or TV station. 40 is maximum with monuments, but we've been using our run to figure out a way to boost loyalty past that. With the help of prisons and orphanages. Mainly prisons though. As soon as you have people working inside a prison with more than 50% loyalty, you can start using the propaganda. And the propaganda boosts loyalty. It boosts loyalty at the end of every free time. So whatever their loyalty is, once those 16 hours are up, 48 plus whatever this is at the moment will get added on top. And there's no limit to that. It can go up to 100. So it's going to be at 52 once it runs out of time at the current rate. And that loyalty keeps going up to 100%, which you can then use in universities and schools to provide education to people, boosting their loyalty up. So you have like a loyalty cycle of, you get very, like, normally the whole like, yes, you have loyal teachers and professors giving loyalty to the students below them, was like already known that you can like basically push the loyalty up, but they would never really reach the loyalty of the teachers, and it would always be the average of the loyalty of the teachers, so gradually it would like lower itself over time, and you needed that influx of some people with like really high loyalty that was like missing in the Republic, and prisons and orphanages to provide that. Orphanages work in the same way. They provide a loyalty boost at the end of each free time if your workers have 50% or more average loyalty, or like government loyalty. People with less loyalty will actually be detrimental to a loyalty boost. So you kind of have to use migrants to get that started initially on harsh difficulty. But then you feed those workers from the orphanage or the prison back into a system where those workers then either run these facilities, so like self-sustaining, or the highly educated people move into the school and university and create more loyal people with higher education, so the university becomes self-sustaining, and then you have a positive loyalty spiral without any electronics or other shenanigans. goal was to get to 60, but I think it's gonna be fine. I think this could go up to 75 or higher. Hello Kazakh farmer. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I think the loyalty gain... At some point we have to, like, if we really want to push the loyalty even further, we have to worry about, like, the 21-year-olds without their own flat, because there's still going to be a couple people with low loyalty being created. And what do we do about those? Because they might run through the school and university and gain enough loyalty. But if I don't want to have a radio or TV, I can't really boost them enough if they don't make it. But that is for another time, I guess. So we had to use a lot of the building settings to manage that. Allowing the first people with high loyalty to only move into the buildings that work in the prison and school, orphanage, prison and orphanage. And later on also letting them move into the university and school. And slowly spreading out where they move into. And that basically created a loyalty network for the whole city where everyone's now loyal. Better quality housing make loyalty easier? I don't think so. Because it's all done with the indoctrination via the prison and the orphanage and the school system. I don't know if happiness actually increases loyalty faster. I just know that low loyalty drops happiness faster, but I don't think the inverse is necessarily true. But I don't know. I have not tested that. So yeah, these people get a higher education mainly for the fact that they get a loyalty boost from the professors. We're requiring 80% loyalty of the professors, so every student will end up with at least 80% or around that loyalty. And orphans visiting this will go to 100% loyalty because they're living in the orphanage, and they might drop a little bit of loyalty, getting taught by an only 80% loyal professor, but then the orphanage makes up the deficit, I guess. What's the benefit of more expensive housing then? Productivity is tied to happiness and loyalty, so our productivity is not as high as it could be because of the low quality housing, I think, and the lower-ish happiness. And I think you can keep people in your republic more easily with high happiness and low loyalty. So you can focus on one or the other. And I think people have mostly focused on happiness so far. And then loyalty as like a stabilizing mean with a radio or TV station at some point, and never really gone for it any other way. But both together give you really high productivity. So here, for example, it's like middling. We only get 68% productivity from 46 loyalty, 54 happiness. If we take a look at someone in a random building, 83% loyalty is pretty high, but only 62 happiness is also 94 productivity. If we find someone with a higher happiness and similar loyalty, would be higher productivity. Okay, here we have someone with similar happiness but higher loyalty, gives higher productivity. I'm trying to find someone with slightly lower loyalty but higher happiness, I guess. Do we have someone with somewhat high happiness? The happiness is limited based on buildings, and these are not that well maintained, I guess. I guess the university students would have the highest happiness because they haven't lived in shitty buildings yet. Let's see if we have someone with like 80% loyalty, 70% happiness, has 102 productivity, so slightly lower loyalty but better happiness gives more productivity then. So both together I think form the productivity. I'm not sure what the mean is, but I know that 100% loyalty and happiness, good happiness, is pretty good. 100% loyalty I guess you can check in an orphanage, for example, but their happiness is usually fairly low. Oh, here we have someone. Oh, we don't see their productivity because they're not old enough yet, I guess. Oh well, I guess we have prisoners. 100% loyalty, 68% happiness, only 87% productivity because prisoner, I guess. But they'll release in 2 sessions, and then they'll have their normal productivity again, I guess. After the next working shift in free time, they'll release. And they should find a building. There are free flats available for highly educated workers. And that's another way to get someone with a higher education with really high loyalty. To move them back into the Republic and make them work in the school or university. Let's see. So currently 87% productivity, probably reduced because of being in prison. Seems to be the average of 68 and 100. Maybe there's another factor that plays on top of that while outside of prison. Maybe there's another value that is important. So now we're up to 106 from 87. That's another 19 on top. I don't know which value that would be, or if there's like a multiplier. But yeah, 106 productivity. Really high loyalty. Good happiness. Seems okay. So as the loyalty of the people drops as they get older, and they are a little bit more disillusioned from the Republic, the happiness might go up. But you don't really have any other way of increasing someone's loyalty when they have become an adult, other than them going to prison, and then you boost their loyalty back up to 100. The reason they went to prison was they committed a crime, and that dropped someone else's loyalty anyway, so you want to do that if you want to keep high loyalty. But yeah, more expensive housing gives you more productivity, I would say, and makes your nation more robust in the face of not caring too much about happiness. Not caring too much about loyalty. Like this flat that I've built extensively has a 70% quality, which is around what our loyalty is looking like. And then I've built a couple of the other houses. I don't know what they have as a quality. 80%, so a little bit higher than that. And then some of them have building wear and tear, but yeah, that might explain our happiness setting right now, I guess. So it could make sense to actually tear down the old houses and replace them with modern ones to like boost happiness and get even more productivity. In this building we have 75 happiness, in this one we have 63. Let's check a different one. This one, 66, but also 60% loyalty. So these flats in total, just the quality of flat kind of limits your happiness, sort of. People with higher happiness can move in and they don't get capped out, but I don't think it can climb as long as it's over the quality of the flat, unless you have something like a radio or TV which can boost it higher. So yeah, replacing these old houses might make sense. Or just building out further, different settlement with newer houses. We need more workers here. Low quality flat, 58%, 54 happiness-ish. That is also impacted by the wear and tear of the building, I think. And the people here will not have very high loyalty. Because I've set this to 50 to 75. And the area is not that well suited for like maintaining high loyalty. They're not going to get clothing all the time. Only if they manage to catch a train. And the train doesn't run with a high frequency. But yeah, that is like a perspective on why to build better housing only from the recent loyalty experiments, I guess. You wanted to maintain high happiness. But the loyalty can be gotten even with low quality housing. It only drops if they like food, meat, if they don't get clothing enough, or if they're a victim of a crime, I guess. Well, otherwise I guess we could build a nation just with low quality rural flats, if we can instill high loyalty. Which could bode well for building a really low density urban slum sprawl, focusing only on loyalty. Putting only the most loyal people into nice houses. And they can propagate it to everyone else. Three people waiting with a higher education. There are free flats available, so they should have no issues finding them. They just finished their studies, I guess. And I guess that brings up the loyalty, right? Yeah. Well, we're approaching 57 now. We're on an upwards trend again. I think we made the correct settings for the Republic. The high amount of 21-year-olds without their own flat will hopefully also reduce the birth rate, which will keep the amount of orphans in check that we have to deal with. Because if this runs too full, then we also don't get any loyalty from this anymore. We would still want the crime reduction though. But for that we don't need the loyalty setting, I guess. But yeah, if they don't get a loyalty boost, they don't really have any means of like moving into the Republic anyway. We have like 80% loyalty in here. How many workers are we dealing with? So 9 students for 5 workers. Times 8. Is that 74? Maximum is 80. We need higher loyalty. I mean, the average productivity isn't as high as it could be yet, because some of them have low happiness, I guess. You have really... Oh, your staff, sorry. 90% productivity, get out. I mean, on average, I think the productivity is already over 100%. But I think maybe the productivity of the staff also has something to do with it. I guess we could check 20 workers if it fills up. So now we have 33 students in the auditorium, and the limit said it was 60. No, 80. That's still way lower than I thought it would be. I thought our productivity would already fix that, to get closer to the max capacity of the building, but apparently not. Last month, 12 tons of food produced. Consumption, 31 tons, so the food factory still has to pick up the pace a little bit. But yeah, it's only like 12 days at max production. Should be doable. People are just not productive enough. But any food produced reduces the amount of food we have to import, and food was really expensive. So that food factory should pay for itself quite easily. So yeah, Megacity 1880 start. We still have to figure out the map. I think we're gonna call it for this run. I really enjoyed it, but yeah, I wanna build a large city. I wanna build like a continuous mass of like urban development sprawl with not focusing too much on keeping things separated, with not too many restrictions other than low tech, because that makes more sense. So why don't we put a cut in here for this run, and we'll take a look at what map we are going to use for Megacity 19, so I don't have to make that decision on the day. And we'll choose that one now. Someone said North Korea. We could also use one of the DLC ones like Moscow empty or St. Petersburg empty. I haven't really looked at those yet as like a means for building a map on them. Like a city on them. But they were like realistic scale terrain with more trains. Yes, we're going to also have the change that I will allow myself to be able to get trains earlier. Even in 1880, if I want them. For which I would turn on the ability to acquire all vehicles, get the trains I want, the train cars I want, and then turn it back off. So we'll probably be able to get one rail construction vehicle, one steam locomotive, as many train cars as the steam locomotive can handle. And then any future vehicle we might be able to produce. Love the early steam engines, yeah, me too. Let's load into the Moscow map and take a look, and then let's load into the other one too, St. Petersburg. Check out some maps. Especially for how the map center looks like. Okay, yeah, that will work. That would actually be pretty good as a start. Because we would have water nearby. We could develop the city all around this. Would have to start in the west, southwest, or south. Because an early bridge would probably not be doable. Is there a large customs house available? There is not. Then we might have to start... Okay, there's no large customs house here. Then these are maybe large? Yes. Train tracks on the left side, that one is not flipped, that one is good. So build a road here across and then start the city. Is there also Berlin with an enclave in it? Inside it? I don't know. There's a East Germany. I don't think there's a Berlin. Okay, that map looks promising. So we'll keep Moscow, maybe. As a map. In contention. In, like, the running. I'm also going to take a look at Siberia, but let's look at St. Petersburg first. Ooh. That would be something. That would be a more watery start in the center. Probably involving ships right away. I don't think we have early start ships. But I guess the same rules would apply for ships as for trains in that case. I could get one ship from each type, I guess, in this case. Up to 1920, so canal motor barges. And then excess ones I would have to produce myself. So this would we would do if we wanted to, I guess, do that but ship focused. Not so good. But we would be able to get there easier because this one is quite close. It's only two map blocks instead of like the 3.5 that we normally have. Or even 4 for almost. I don't know. I don't think it's like a high chance that we're gonna pick St. Petersburg for this. About 1/3 of St. Petersburg map appears to be water. It's not that much, no. It's like 25% maybe. It's like not that much water really. I mean 1/3 is also not that much, but yeah. It's there's a decent chunk of water here. Like the waterways could make a river style gameplay quite easily possible. Like with boats, I mean. So yeah, I guess there's enough water is what you meant. The Lithuania was like the other one with a lot of water. I think that one might have even more water than this one. Let's check East Germany real quick. Although a start in the center there is not going to be anywhere near water, I don't think. Unless they have modeled a river, I guess. But it would feel kind of weird. They have modeled a lot of rivers. That's the center. Yeah, we would have to cross one, maybe two rivers to actually get here. Also, much closer borders, I guess. And decently hilly if we go south, but yeah, this one would feel like a miniature world, I guess. Just East Germany. I don't know. Maybe. St. Petersburg, Moscow looked quite flat and kind of usable for that. Let's take a look at Lithuania. First North Korea, I guess. Oh, Estonia, not Lithuania, sorry. Get those confused. It's important that the center is, like, useful. That one looks quite good. It's decently far away from water. No, it's actually... Wait, it's perfect. Wow. Okay. It's, like, exactly what I need. But it's really close, like, it's only like less than 2 blocks here to get to the center. Is that in the spirit of the run? Maybe. It would be, like, not that difficult to get there. Yeah. Estonia looks good in that regard, I guess. So Moscow and Estonia, I would say, are in contention. Let's take a look at North Korea. I think the center of North Korea is not going to be good. Don't remember a lot of rivers in that one. No. Was I looking at the right junction in Estonia? I hope I was. That one looks like a rough start to build a city in, so unlikely. It's not too far from water, like a sewage pipe can definitely make that. I think North Korea is gonna be a no. Yeah, probably not. I don't know if I looked at Estonia correct. I will have to reload that one. Just excuse me real quick. Was I looking at the correct center of the map? Or was I off? Center? No, it is the center. Yeah. Okay, no, that's right at a body of water for sewage discharge. That is really, really convenient. But Moscow was too. The other thing I wanted to think about was like using New Horizons, but I think that the river in that one is way too big. I don't think New Horizons makes any sense. British Isles, Yugoslavia, no. Eastern USA, no. Siberia. That one has a lot of water, so the center might be directly on the river, I guess. Is there Cuba? I think Zedlier has that one on lockdown right now. The center is not directly on water, but how do I get here? There's 3 customs houses. That would be a nightmare to build. But yeah, someone said random Siberia map, but I don't know, like, this Siberia map is so challenging, I really like it. Cuba would be like a ship-focused run. I mean, depending on what scale Cuba is in, I guess. Can still have a train on Cuba. And then we have the subscribed maps that I haven't looked at in a while. Taiga was a cool one. That's like the alternative to New Horizons. Similar, same map maker, I think, but a little bit more difficult than New Horizons, I believe. Map center would be here. So that's a proper square map with the maximum distance of 3 squares, even longer than that. And that would have to cross a ton of water. So probably from this side, going over 2 rivers. Maybe the rivers are a little bit too large for that too. Shaggy Bay. Is that a map? I'm not aware of that. Or did I have that one on my subscribed list? I don't think I had. It is a subscribed map. Sounds coastal. I only got 3 stars. That looks wide open. It looks like the center of the map is going to be right on the water. I guess. Why does it only have 3 stars now? It's 5 years old. 4.5 years old. I mean, I guess we can try and take a look at it. Maybe it'll show up. There it is. I'd suggest the first map will allow big city with plenty of trains. Yeah, the Moscow map looked pretty good for this. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. That is like... That is very far away from the border. Also really rough terrain in the center here. That would be quite difficult to build in, but this has like the vibe of like a Siberia map. Huh. And it is also in Siberia, so yeah, that's a Siberia map, I guess. That could be a Siberia challenge run at some point. That would be cool. It's not Shaggy Bay. What did I start then? Oh. I guess I accidentally clicked on Karinsk then. Shaggy Bay. I thought I did. Has it the flip Poland customs offices? I don't think so. Okay, so that one is Shaggy Bay. Center is directly in the water, so that would not work for us. I don't want to flatten this out to actually hold houses. But also a cool map. Very much eastern waterway connection. With a good potential of bridges leading around here. Could be cool. No problem. So, I think Moscow then. Empty. It's decently flat. Looks really flat actually. So, it's gonna be convenient to build. Really convenient. There's some hills, but yeah, it's mostly a flat map. We're gonna start in the center. We'll have to build towards this area from one of the customs houses. Let's check if they're flipped. That one doesn't matter. That one doesn't matter. Where's the large customs house? They're not flipped. They're fine. They're on the left. Train tracks are on the left side. So that would be fine. We would have to build over the water and then build our first city here. Rough, only west connection is via boat. Here, yeah. So western vehicles we would have to develop towards, build the city out south, and then develop a harbor, I guess, or dredge out the river. But I guess we could run a canal motor barge and get some vehicles from the west if we wanted to. Would take a while though. NATO access only through shipping, apparently, yeah. So I guess it's decided. I guess we're gonna be using the Moscow map. Moscow map 1880 start with low tech, but the ability for us to acquire trains earlier. And ships if we need them earlier. At least one train, one ship, and one rail construction vehicle. One train each type. One ship each type, and train wagons, of course. Trains to a port next to NATO. Well, the port can also be inside here. It's just going to take a while for the ships to travel. Which I guess I don't mind, but I don't think two canal motor barges could travel past each other. I guess I might be misjudging the... No, this river is pretty large. I guess motor barges should be able to travel past each other on this. But yeah. For trading harbor, it would have to be down here somewhere. Which, for a mega city run, would require a lot of urban development in that direction, so probably not for a while. But anyway. Okay, I think we're going to put a cut in here. We've made our decision for the next run. This one is over. We will go into Mega City 1, Mega City 19 on the next one. There might be another science time in between. We might take a look at pollution a little bit more for an early start to see if we can build an urban environment with heating plants and factories right in the middle, and see if we can like compensate for the lower life expectancy, because that's how I would like to build the mega city. So I would like to test that before we do that. But anyway, I'm gonna call it here for today. As always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I think that was good fun. The Poland run had a little bit of an issue with the customs houses being low throughput, but we learned a lot of stuff in there. And I'm really looking forward to the Mega City run. That one's gonna take a while, I think. We will see. I'll rate you to Percuss again, I guess, who's playing Vintage Story. Let me check if there's anyone else in Workers and Resources, maybe. French, German, French, German. Nope, I'm the only English streamer on Workers and Resources right now. So Percuss again, it will be. Who's playing Vintage Story? A Minecraft game that is not Minecraft, because it is a lot more detailed and about survival. Not everyone's cup of tea, but yeah, if you want to jump into another Workers and Resources stream, I guess there's no English one available right now, but maybe German or French is sufficient. But I don't think it's like the right choice for rating right now. But yeah, something to look forward to. Mega City 19 coming soon. Only one more Workers and Resources stream away, I think. And we'll do some pollution testing, maybe on the side, but I will probably upload it to YouTube again as well. Until then, have a good rest of your Wednesday afternoon, wherever you are. Take care, everyone. All the best. And maybe I'll see you next time.